For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul?
Are you relating that to how this affects us as a person?
No. The idea here is just you can have all the material gain in the world, but if it's at the expense of the thing that makes you you, in this case, your soul, if it corrupts the very thing that makes you the person that you are, then who cares about all the material things you gain at its expense, right? That's the idea.
Like, do you guys ever feel bad? Do you ever go to sleep at night and feel like guilty and bad for how you talk to these guys? Do you ever I mean,
at first, when I first started doing it, but eventually I realized they choose to do this. This is what they want. They're grown men, and they have done their own research and found out all these different kind of possible kinks that they could have, and this was what they went with.
So, but your initial reaction was empathy and feeling bad. Do you think that you just got jaded over time?
I mean, no, because I didn't think too hard about how they got off to it. It was just like an initial saying something mean to someone else. You would think that they are hurt by it, but they're not.
Don't you feel like icky talking to them like that, though? Like,
No.
you personally, don't you feel like shitty for talking to people like that?
No.
No, not at all. Not even in house.
Laura, would you agree, though, that you need to have a soul in order to lose it?
Absolutely. That's what I was saying. She initially felt guilty, so it's like she lost her empathy.
I sold my soul. Yes.
Oof. No daughters. Still no daughters. Terrifying.
Yeah, but your sons will marry someday. So you
Well,
deal with
I'm going to screen those girls, okay? So, yeah, that's scary, too. Hopefully they choose right. They can watch this podcast for education.
Actually, I have another quote related to that. Andrew, am I selling my soul by doing this podcast? Or is this on the up and up?
No. The idea here is just that you will, at the expense of morality, do things for material gain. That's just the idea. That's the very idea of the quote. It's just that you'll compromise all of yours. It's called the Faustian bargain. There's a great play that was written about this very thing. And the idea was that you would be willing to sell your soul for materialism. And once you do that, you can't get the very thing back. So it's like that old adage Dave Ramsey used to always say, that a man will spend his entire health to gain wealth and then spend all of his wealth to get his health back, right? Mm-hmm. It's just how we value things. We make these value assessments and we fuck them up. And when you're young, you fuck them up worse because you feel like you're invincible and immortal. You never think that age will catch up with you. You're going to be the one who doesn't age. You're going to be the one who never gets older. You're going to be the one that never happens to. And it happens to everybody. And unfortunately, most people compromise their values in exchange for materialism. That's the modernity, right?
I have a best friend, actually, and a couple of years ago, my friends come to me for relationship advice quite often. So I only know about like what femdom is when they first said it, because my friend came to me and she said, I started seeing this guy and he literally has this weird, told me after a month or so, and she was showing me the text and it just was graphic, funny, sad. Like, he was like, he sent her like a picture and he was like, tell me it's so small you can't even use it. Like, it was so sad. And she was just like, she said she felt like shit inside. She was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, he sent me like so much money, but I feel like crap. What should I do? And I'm like, you should stop. Absolutely. If you feel like crap, then it's not, like, tell him you're not the girl for him, you know? And she was like, yeah, like, it's hard because he is giving me money and I'm trying, but like, I can't like sleep at night. And I was like, if you can't sleep at night, you should stop.
Wait, Andrew, I got a question for you.
Yeah, I didn't really mean to make it into like a virtue signal thing. I'm not saying you're virtue signaling. I'm just saying I'm just trying to explain kind of what the principle is, right? I think everybody, for the most part, at least in the West, is going to come to various crossroads of choice where they'll have the choice in which they can compromise the very belief structure that they have in exchange for some type of material possession that they desire. And unfortunately, I think in modernity, most people will compromise that morality for that material possession. I think that is far more common than not. And I think in modernity that women suffer from this far more than men, which is why I consider men to be more virtuous than women. It's not because I hate women or think that women bad. I think that they're wired towards security, and because of that, it's far easier to compromise them when it comes to an exchange of morality for material possession. If you want proof of this, see Eve in the Bible, then you'll understand where I come to this conclusion. So, just saying.
I have a quote for you, Andrew. I have a quote
Okay.
for you, and I want to know if this impacts you, because sometimes I think about this quote, and I'm like, yeah. Okay, so whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you.
Yeah, so that's modern Western philosophy stolen from Easterners who don't understand the distinction between essence and energy. But the thing is that no, you stare into the abyss long enough, or you dance. But the other way to say this, you dance with the devil doesn't change, devil changes you. This is actually antithetical to Christian ethics. The idea in Christian ethics being that you're always staring down at the abyss, and your job is to convert the world while you're staring down it. So no, I reject this kind of quote summarily. Another way you could say this, I've heard it said as be careful that the shadow you chase is not the one that you cast, meaning be careful the thing you're going after is not the very thing that you are. But I think that the only thing that you can do, right, I prefer this, right, I would say it this way. Stare into the abyss and right, these bastards. The truth is that you should absolutely stare them down, hold your ground, and not take a single step back ever, not ever. And I think that those quotes are essentially cope. They're just trying to tell you to sidestep the issues which are in front of you in order to try to safeguard yourself from falling prey to the same types of vice. However, I think that you can be effective and not fall prey to them.
The way I interpret that last quote, though, isn't so much like to run from a fight. It's more so if you're involved in a certain, if you're engaged with something, this thing has the capacity to scar you in some way so as to damage you.
Yeah, that's everything. That's the problem with it, right? Is there's no singular activity that you can fall into that doesn't have that capacity. Mm-hmm. Think of something as simple as eating ice cream. But if you eat too much ice cream, it has the potential to scar you. Same thing, play the guitar. But if you play the guitar too much, right, it has the potentiality to consume you. This is just a basic truth about almost any activity that you can engage in. And so I think that the opposite is true. I think that the abyss is the thing we're always all staring into. And the trick is to just not get sucked into it, regardless of that.
Okay. Let's get through the tweets if we can. Read it, please.
It should be your
Scroll
head in
down
the
there.
toilet.
Bruh.